1 week of protests leads to a big shakeup at the University of Missouri.
Will transition from the role of Chancellor of the University of Missouri.
The resignation of not one, but two big leaders. Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton and former System President Tim Wolf.
And I take full responsibility for the inaction that has occurred.
Leading to various reactions.
I think it's a good move for the university.
I don't think it was really necessary.
And the university and activists both planning next steps.
We're going to end on a solidarity note, I mean.
KOMU 8 News at 10 starts now.
A hunger strike, weeks of protests, a boycott by football players, alumni support, and much more ends with not one, but two high-profile MU resignations. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. President Tim Wolf and Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton are leaving their respective posts in Mizzou leadership. The changes raise a lot of questions for MU's future. We have team coverage tonight, and we'll start with KOMU 8's Chris Gothner live at the Old Alumni Center in Columbia, where Lofton announced his resignation just hours ago. Chris?
I'm here at the Old Alumni Center where at about 4:30 this afternoon, R. Bowen Lofton announced that he will be transitioning from his role as MU Chancellor, effectively resigning. Now, starting in the new year, he will have a new position involving MU's research facilities. But we don't know a whole lot about what that new position entails. We'll surely learn more about that in the coming weeks, though. I caught up with Lofton as he was leaving the building today. Right after that press conference, he had very little to say, but here's what he did have to say at the news conference.
I have decided today that I will transition from the role of Chancellor of the University of Missouri, effective the end of this year, and move into a new role where I will work with many people across the university and the system.
We learned earlier this evening that Lofton has an interim replacement. That's Hank Foley, System Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Research and Development. He's been appointed as interim chancellor. Now, the Board of Curators will certainly have its hands full finding a replacement for both Lofton and System President Tim Wolf, who also resigned today. Now for a look at Hank Foley, who will be taking over for Lofton on a temporary basis January 1st. Before coming to MU, Foley was Vice President for Research and Dean for the Graduate School at Penn State. He's widely recognized as a leader in the field of nanoporous carbons with more than 120 published articles and even 14 U.S. patents. Now, while no faculty members were willing to comment on Lofton's resignation today, students had some wide range of opinions today. Some thought that the move was necessary for the university to move forward, but others, they didn't think it was the best move.
KOMU 8's Caitlin Rounds talked to students about Lofton's resignation. She is live at Traditions Plaza, the site of the week-long protest camp. Caitlin?
Faculty members would not comment at this time. I was able to talk to many students about how they felt about Chancellor Lofton's resignation. I talked to dozens of students, and there was a wide range of emotions on campus today. Some people felt that his resignation was the most necessary step moving forward. Others understood why he resigned, but did not think it was a necessary move.
I personally feel like there hasn't been a lot of stuff getting done. It's not so much, obviously you can't stop, hatred just by removing people from office, but you can at least promote a place where it's obvious that that's not tolerated or accepted.
Well, I like Chancellor Lofton. He treats students really well, I think. He has great rapport with them. So I think it's sad that he's stepping down as a chancellor, but I'm glad that he'll still be around on campus.
Well, not everyone was in agreement about whether Lofton should have resigned his post as chancellor. Every single student I talked to was well informed about what had happened today at Mizzou. Reporting live in Columbia, Caitlin Rounds, KOMU 8 News.
Now, System President Tim Wolf announced his resignation just minutes into this morning's Board of Curators meeting. Wolf said he loves this university, and it is his belief that the situation came because, quote, we stopped listening to each other. He also said he made the decision to resign after talking to his daughter, even after saying last night that he planned to continue his position. Wolf said he takes full responsibility for inaction, but when referring to the hunger strike, he had this to say.
This is not, I repeat, not the way change should come about.
Wolf stayed for the entire Board of Curators meeting, even after he announced his resignation. Currently, there is no word on who will replace Wolf as the system president.
After Wolf's announcement, chanting and celebration started at the Carnahan Quad. At a news conference, the Concerned Student 1950 group outlined remaining demands that were sent to the Board of Curators. They included having black psychologists on staff, meeting with the Board of Curators and the governor on future actions, and reaching at least 10% of black faculty.
At the end of all this, after all the letters we've sent, all the in-person interactions, after all the forums we've attended, after all the tweets and DMs that we've sent, telling the administration about our pain, it should not have taken this much, and it is disgusting and vile that we find ourselves in the place that we do.
Our goal is to abolish inequalities at the intersection of race at the University of Missouri-Columbia. While today may seem bright to some, this is just a beginning in aiding and dismantling systems of oppression within higher education, specifically the system.
That first person you heard from was grad student Jonathan Butler. He started a hunger strike last week, saying he would not eat until Wolf resigned or was fired. That strike ended this morning.
Students, faculty, and community members linked arms around the student group camped out on MU's Carnahan Quadrangle, while a no media request by the group has made it nearly impossible to speak directly to anyone who's a part of the movement. KOMU 8 spoke to some students who were happy about the change and others who were still in shock over the stories of racism they heard from their fellow students.
A lot of confusion, a lot of desire to know just how you feel about like these problems that happen on campus and just happen on a daily basis even. Just it's kind of disheartening for me to hear that actually happen to people.
Many professors did cancel class today, but a representative from MU told KOMU 8 the university never officially canceled classes and it will not cancel them tomorrow.
Many civil liberty groups spoke out about today's resignations. KOMU 8's Nicole Shaddy is here in the studio to tell us leaders say the job is not done.
Civil liberty leaders from around the state and the nation are supporting protest group Concerned Student 1950 and today's resignation announcements. The National NAACP president tweeted this, #Concerned Student 1950. We support you. We commend you. The NAACP stands with you. And in a statement, the ACLU of Missouri said in part that the organization, quote, honors the University of Missouri students and faculty who have displayed courageous and creative leadership in bringing attention to the racism that is an unfortunate part of the history of our state and its institutions and which continues to this day. The Missouri NAACP chapter also expressed their support of the activists.
One of the questions that we had was, will courage skip this generation? And I think they answered that question loud and clear for us.
But Ratliff says they still have an uphill battle to face. She gave me a copy of this letter that she received just 2 days ago that's full of racial slurs and threats. Now, this letter had a fake name and return address.
Some MU alumni are in town following the events leading up to today's resignations. The former students say they traveled to support their old school. A student supporter of Concerned Student 1950 says today's news is only the first step towards a more diverse campus.
Because really at the end of the day, it's really about respecting each other and continuing on with our educations and not putting each other down or claiming that one is inferior than the other.
Tomlin says she's proud the university is taking strides, but says the fight is definitely not over.
Weather-wise, it was a very nice Monday. Let's send it over to Kenton for a check of the forecast.
Jim, thank you very much. It certainly was. Good evening, everyone. We do have clear skies out there still tonight after a day where temperatures got back up into the upper 50s. Feeling very nice, of course, outside with a lot of sunshine expected once again on Tuesday. 37 at sunrise, 65 actually for a high temperature on Tuesday afternoon. But then that's going to completely change by the time we get to Wednesday because we have some storms rolling in. Some of it could even be severe. I'm tracking everything you need to know coming up later in the show.
MU was not the only campus holding protests today. Why students at Yale are protesting after the break.
At Family Pond,